champion Greg Jennings. We're talking to LA Rams. The Matt Stafford-SeaN McVay duo has a chance to do big things this year. And sounds like the two are getting on the same page in camp. Stafford said yesterday, quote, "It's been great working with him. He's a really bright guy, has great energy, and knows how to command a room. But at the same time, he's so approachable, and everybody loves him. It's really fun challenging each other. He's trying to get the best out of me, and I'm trying to get the best out of him. That kind of friendly, fun competition and pushing each other is what it's all about. I'm loving it." So, Greg, who's under more pressure this year for the Rams, Stafford or McVay?
Well, let's be clear. They're both under pressure, but the most pressure is going to be Matthew Stafford. He carries the most weight when you look at this situation, simply because you get rid of your Super Bowl contending quarterback. Whatever we feel about Jared Goff, he was able to get that team to a Super Bowl. They did not win. However, you move on from him thinking Matthew Stafford and all his potential and everything that he possesses at the quarterback position can get us over the hump. So now you look at the Rams and what they've been able to accomplish. This is a team that has gone to the playoffs. SeaN McVay, as head coach, has taken this team to the playoffs 3 of his 4 years of being a head tenured coach. And so when you look at that, his success rate is high. Matthew Stafford has only been to the playoffs 3 times. He's never won a playoff game. All the potential and all the yards and all the accolades that we know that he has and he possesses, Matthew Stafford, it's been for naught, because ultimately in this game, in sport, you have to win, and you have to win when it counts most. And when it counts most is in the playoffs. That's the expectation of Matthew Stafford, why they acquired him. What they believe they can get out of him is playoff wins, not only, but a potential opportunity to contend for a Super Bowl. That's the pressure Matthew Stafford has walking into the LA Rams situation this year.
Yeah, I totally agree, Greg. All the pressure's on Matthew Stafford. It's not on SeaN McVay. SeaN McVay is not on the hot seat. He ain't going nowhere. SeaN McVay would be unemployed for 45 seconds, and then someone would hire him. SeaN McVay has been to a Super Bowl. He's 43-21 in 4 seasons, and what we can probably all agree is the most competitive division in football. This is on Matthew Stafford. We've been hearing a lot about Matthew Stafford for a long time. And to Matthew Stafford's credit, he has always been able to put up great statistics with usually not the best team. And I mean, if you compare the seasons last year, obviously Jared Goff was struggling. But Matthew Stafford, you know, they had similar passing yards with 26 touchdowns to 20 touchdowns with Jared Goff. 10 interceptions for Stafford, 13 for Jared Goff. And we know what the records are because they didn't have the same level of coaching and they didn't have the same level of team around them. Well, Matthew Stafford has switched with Jared Goff, which is kind of an ironic experiment, to see what he is going to do there. Jared Goff is going to go to Matthew Stafford's team, a player that everyone thought was a bust, who was working with SeaN McVay, now with a team in the Detroit Lions who's struggled almost every single year. So now we're going to get to see what Jared Goff really is. And now Matthew Stafford, coming from Detroit, a team that struggled, to a team that's been in the Super Bowl recently, who has SeaN McVay. And now we're going to get to see what Matthew Stafford can do with a great team around him. Because we've always thought Matthew Stafford was extremely talented. But what can he do when he has good coaching? What can he do when he has weapons around him? What can he do when he has a good defense, when he has a good offensive line? We're going to find out. I don't have any questions about what SeaN McVay is capable of. I have questions about what Matthew Stafford is capable of. And in this division, he's going to have to put up or shut up. So the pressure, to me, is on Matthew Stafford.
It's SeaN McVay. And really, to be honest, it's based off of the reasoning that you guys are both giving, is that SeaN McVay has accomplished at a high level. He's set the bar very high. He's taken a new team to LA, even though an old team, you brought them back, and he's brought them to prominence. They went to the Super Bowl. To much whom is given, much is required. And now SeaN McVay is required to win. So when I look at this scenario and this situation, think about it. You bring in Matthew Stafford. Matthew Stafford ain't won. We don't have no reason to think that Matthew Stafford is going to win anywhere else other than the fact that we continue to say this is a talented quarterback. It's believable. His stats say it in certain moments of his career. But think about it. What if Jared Goff goes to Detroit under Dan Campbell and does well, starts to play well? You know, the benefit that this Rams team has had is Aaron Donald. They've had a defense. Their defense has carried them. So when I look at this offense, you had Todd Gurley at one point. That didn't work out. So you had like one of the face of the league at the running backs position. You still had great runs, but I have never seen his offense as a dominant offense, as the first option of why this Rams team is a dominant team. Aaron Donald goes down with a rib injury in this playoff run. What happens? They lose the next game. They lose the next game. So to me, if this team takes a step back, and they take a step backwards because the offense isn't doing more with a high-powered Matthew Stafford, who's had probably his better days are behind him at this point. Let's be clear on that. If it's because of Matthew Stafford, then it's because of the coaching. And to me, that's a bad decision if you don't get a high-level performance out of Matthew Stafford this year, Chris. It's definitely on the coach. It's on Sean McVay. Matt, get it? Matt Stafford, Matt McVay. All right, okay.
LeVar, here's what I get. I get the pattern and the tone that you've set on this show this morning. Okay, you're defending all quarterbacks. No quarterbacks can do wrong, all right? Not Jalen Hurts, not Carson Wentz, and now not Matthew Stafford. That's the only logic I can see in you choosing Sean McVay in this. Sean McVay is not up for question. I get that he got undressed a few years in the Super Bowl by Bill Belichick. But even his down point, his cellar was 9-7. All right, they've made the playoffs 3 of the 4 years that he's been there. Do you know what the Rams were before Sean McVay got there? They hadn't had a winning record in 13 years. They had you were in high school the last time they had made the playoffs before Sean McVay got there, all right? I mean, come on, man. This is all about Matthew Stafford. Joy and Greg laid it out. This dude was a #1 pick in 2009. He doesn't have one playoff victory to show for it. He's only been to the playoffs 3 times. And in those 3 games, 4 touchdowns, 3 interceptions. So all those gaudy stats have been thrown out the window when the pressure really was on Matthew Stafford. On top of that, they gave up Jared Goff, 2 future first-round picks, and a 3rd-round pick. Man, he better deliver. He better deliver, Greg. I know you with me. Holla if you're with me, Greg.
Oh, I'm with you, Chris. I'm with you, Chris. Look, you both have laid it out. And I want to touch on a couple things. Joy hit it right out the gate. We've always seen Matthew Stafford in Detroit and said, well, he doesn't have any personnel surrounding him consistently. And when you really look at it, he's always had a piece or some exactly. He's always had something. But now he goes to a situation where it seems to, at least on paper, it appears every piece is in place. Offensively, defensively. Now you lose Cam Akers. Oh, now that's even more pressure added on Matthew Stafford. How much more can he do? What load can we now put on him to make sure that our offense resembles what we expect it to be? And then, LeVar, you talked about them a couple years ago, and them
play calling.
Wait. LeVar, you talked about this offense not being the catalyst. Well, the Super Bowl year, their defense was lights out. They've always had a really good defense, but offensively, this was a juggernaut. He had them rolling. They were averaging over 30, 35 almost points per game. And so to say that their offense wasn't one of the reasons why they were so successful, that's incorrect. Now, last year, yes, Aaron Donald did get hurt. So was Jared Goff, but he played in the game with an injured hand. and had some success. They lost to the Green Bay Packers, who the previous year had lost in the NFC Championship game, who made it to the NFC Championship game this past season and lost to the Super Bowl winning Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So let's not make it seem like they didn't do anything, they didn't accomplish anything. Sean McVay has done a lot, and the expectation of Matthew Stafford, not so much Sean McVay. We understand he's a winning quarterback or he's a winning head coach. Our expectation is no different for Sean McVay.